Yeah, I think they still can, but I want to see a lot more flexibility with it. Clearly, it's something that you see the Lich picked in response to it. That's what you got a coach there for. So I want to see Neff putting in the hard yards to be able to say, hey, they picked up a Lich in response to the Primal Beast, so let's try and switch it up. Let's make the Primal Beast not the key linchpin of our draft. Let's move it to a position 4, for example, and then pick a different position 3 that just completely abuses Lich, is able to abuse it from afar, for example, and makes it nowhere near as strong as it was in that game.
Unless I'm mistaken, that does not look like Neff behind them. Do we know who the gentleman is with the papers?
Mr. Papers? I don't know, but I know Neff is there with them. Oh god, I know who it is. No. It's
I know who it is. No,
it's escaping me. My brain's just gone.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Mangusu, apparently.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right. He... oh, man, I'm trying to remember.
He was with SG and Noping previously. As a coach.
Yes, there was another... I'm trying to think. He was played with or coached at least, I think, one of the boys prior. Yeah, he coached Costabile on SG Esports at TI10. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of history with the coach and Costabile. We'll see, like you said. I mean,
okay, that's what I mean with the seating. What's going on with that seating? Who sits like that?
Brother, hang on. Are we ever going to doubt Lelouch when he has a leaner performance like that? I mean, if you have a game like that, you can sit however you want. I mean, you can sit with your feet up at the top of the chair and you hanging off the edge. I don't care. If you're chilling, you chill.
And I got to talk to Xavius about which barber he goes to, because that man, he's got pretty good hairstyle, wouldn't you say? Oh, we get the zoom in on the king himself.
The king himself. Yeah, definitely top short hairstyle, I will say.
I wouldn't call it a style. I dry it and whatever happens. You
just let it do its own thing. Just hope it looks good one day.
I've had many years of trying to make this work and it just doesn't. So whatever, we'll just YOLO it as we see AU cool, calm, and collected as we would come to expect from him. He's the veteran. He's the calming voice coming through. But yeah, I'm really wanting to see a better performance out of Nouns, and I'm sure they would have higher expectations for themselves too. You only play 5 series in these group stages, so you got to make everyone count. You can't just let a few easy things slip up. And honestly, I didn't hate their draft in game number 1. I just think the lanes went so poorly for Nouns relative to what I thought it would. So maybe they just need to clump up a bit more. Realize that you're going up against an SEA team that loves to go for these level 1 ganks and, look to try and respond to it in kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder, again, I should say, actually, this game, Polaris, they have the 24th pick. Oh. I'm going to stop myself right there. Silencer as a 5th pick, Danog. This is very, very interesting. What are your thoughts about the Silencer? Is this warranted with the changes to be a first pick hero?
I don't necessarily think so. The only other team that I've seen pick it has been Na'Vi with Solo, right?
Yeah, great success. They beat Nouns in both those games, in fact.
Maybe that's just Nouns taking something from Na'Vi. That's what you do throughout TI, right? You look at little bits and pieces and you steal it away. And how many times do you see Enigma picked into a Silencer? Pretty rare, I would say. But again, this is the impact of just going full on push. I feel like this is Polaris' style. They're saying like, look, Silencer, sure, it's better with his Q than what it was previously at being able to deal with split push and people just getting righted on top of you, but it still kind of sucks. So if you could pick something like Enigma, who Force is very capable on, pair it together with a solid laner with a Tusk who's able to, like, you get Ice Sharded with the Silencer and you've got Idle on Split, you're dead on Silencer. There's nothing you can do about it unless they go... It's not a bad response, honestly. I was going to say something like Pudge or Bristleback or just something else. Even the Marcy, potentially, Dawnbreaker, but Bristle's pretty solid too.
Yeah, it's a hero that we've really seen fall out of popularity, even though Enigma has been a hero that's picked up at a consistent basis. Like you said, the Bristleback is a great way to answer, but kind of the changes with the experience and the warpath, well, getting towards level 25 takes a lot longer, and the warpath in general isn't as strong as what it used to be.
It's a very worthy 8th pick, though. We always talk about the last pick of the first phase. Whoever's got it, you got to pick something that's potentially game-winning. This is potentially lane-winning, and it's potentially game-winning, provided that you ban out the counters to it. You can see they've already removed the Viper. Wouldn't be surprised to see them go down a route of someone else that likes to go into the early Silver Edge. Even something like a Chaos Knight, perhaps, is what Polaris is thinking of, especially considering they've gotten rid of the Leshrac now. So, what else can we look to go down? Not really a Naga Siren, but, just anything that's able to just swarm over nouns is what I would be looking to pick up if I'm Polaris.
10 seconds remaining.
It definitely feels like, though, with this first phase, I'm very happy with nouns as opener. Like, you have addressed the Enigma, even though, again, like you said, in Enigma, you never really see it into the silencer, but you've now got an answer to the BKB Black Hole as the game goes later on, and you have an answer to the lane. And with how strong this hero is, you can't just answer him in one department. You need both answers, because this hero can just, with the unique playstyle that you have now with Wraith Pact and just pushing, like, you need a way to address that. So I like that nouns have done so, which now gives them an opportunity to be able to set themselves up in the second phase. And are we looking for heroes that can look to pair with the Bristleback? Do we need to cover some other flaws that maybe nouns haven't covered so far?
I think you just need more heroes that could stall out the fight a little bit, right? Bristle needs time to be able to build up some of those stacks. It needs time to be able to get those first few key items. Like, if you can get into the Aghanim Scepter plus a Vanguard, you might even avoid the Vanguard. You might just go Ags BKB, honestly, on this Bristleback, because the timing for Polaris is going to be super early. But just stuff that's good at shoving out lanes is what I would be looking to prioritize. So it takes it away from Polaris as well, but I wouldn't hate to see nouns go into a Pango.
Yep. Even another way to be able to deal with the Enigma BKB Black Hole as the game goes on, with the Swashbuckle Basher that's inevitably going to come out. Gives you some team fight, which can be really handy, because the Global Silence is a very long cooldown as well, and you do need some ways to be able to kind of help the Bristleback right-click heroes.
Yep.
There's a possibility for Polaris just to be able to kind of avoid the Bristleback.
You get away from a Tusk reliably as well. I think it's really solid.
It's another hero that's
Vici picked it up earlier today.
Yeah, the Drow, I think Matu also played it in Game 1 versus Xtreme. They went like a Drow Visage lineup. So apparently the 5 base movement speed buff was enough to warrant a couple to Drow Ranger picks.
No, the RV1 was just because it was like a ridiculously good Drow game. They had no backline dive at all. So
sure.
Hoodwink, though, that's a break that I was thinking of potential position ones that also pick up the tempo, but if you could just land the sharpshooter with some reliable stuns, then I feel like Polaris is still in a pretty good spot. I still think they could pick the CK here. I think they might just be waiting for the last pick of the overall phase to be able to do it.
It's something that Southeast Asia still put a lot of priority on, being the Chaos Knight, so you said just being able to kind of surround the silencer. I wonder for nouns if they're going to look to maybe have like a defensive hero, because at the moment Polaris, the name of the game for them is locking the Bristle back into place, getting that sharpshooter off. So maybe having a way to dispel the stun to get Bristle back out of the sharpshooter could be really beneficial.
But what would you have? Like a Legion is basically the only one? Because you've already committed with a silencer, and I don't really want to see the silencer anywhere but 5. I feel like you're way too vulnerable to pick-offs if you're playing it as like a core anywhere, because Tusk, Hoodwink, you're just dead. They get right in on top of you.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, because you can't run like Silencer, Shadow Demon. You can't run any other the defensive supports. Really, the only one's really like Tusk you could maybe pair with Silencer, but of course Polaris have it, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to be able to enable the Bristleback. They're using a lot of their time, but of course for the 16th, 17th, it's incredibly important. Very good call with the Pango. And they'll go down the Venge route. So, okay. So, you got some synergy. A lot of minus armor, the Lucky Shot with the Goo, and now the Wave of Terror. And you have your own save as well coming out from the swap.
They like to play it a lot on nouns as well, just in general. So it's
that they do.
a Z-Freak hero that he plays a fair amount. Even before the Silencer got buffed, Husky was playing it a fair amount too. So I'm assuming this is going to be... it might be a Pango mid for Gunner, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be played at the off lane, and they're just saving that one. This is the downside. You know, that's what I was saying. Remember when I was saying in the banning phase, like, I want to see a Pango, but I want to see them address it in the draft? This is what I meant. I needed to see this hero gone. Because, again, it's a fast tempo hero that pairs well together pretty well with a Hoodwink. You know, you land the Bushwhack, very easy to land the Blood right afterwards. You go in super early. People are going to be taking a lot of damage early on. You're just going to have so much buffed up movement speed and feels really solid. So... if I'm nouns, I don't think the TA is necessarily the right ban. I want to see them look to get some kind of hero that just provides them more control for these team fights, or rather, more ways to just get in onto the backlines and kill the silencer before you're able to pop the global silence.
So we're wanting some active former hero out of the Lelouch?
Basically.
A puck? Okay.
Maybe not against the Pango. Maybe a Storm. Maybe not against the Pango. I don't know. I just want something that's able to go in and just give vision, even. Because that's just going to enable the Tusk and the Hoodwink so much.
I do think, though, addressing the Bloodseeker once again, I think this is a game-winning Bloodseeker pick. I'm very concerned that they... with how much it's able to deal with nouns. Because you can't use that swap defensively now. I'm almost certain the range is not far enough where the Rupture's still going to do damage, even with the swap. You're able to address the Pango, and the Aghanim Shah versus Suppressive just absolutely counters him. And you've got a very good lane setup. I think this is a game-winning Bloodseeker pick, and Natsumi plays a incredible Bloodseeker. Like, it is one of his best heroes.
Yeah, it's not long enough range. You need like an Aether Lens plus the Eye of Vizier or the Psychic Headband, basically. Which, once you get to that stage, you got to have a lot of things going your way, essentially.
That you do. We are looking for the last pick hero for Mu. So trying to continue with the tempo. The Beastmaster Visage has been banned out. You can't go down a Lycan route, or maybe you can think of just picking up so many heroes that are countered by Rupture where he doesn't know who to try and use it on. So instead, it's going to be the Dawnbreaker picked up from nouns.
So this is just buff up Bristle, isn't it? That's basically it. Just secure space for Bristle, push out lanes with Pango and Dawnbreaker. Again, Silence Avenge really can't do it, so they just need to make sure that they're trying to not feed as much as possible. And I think you just need to give up the fact that Polaris is going to get farmed, because you don't have ways to invade super early on. So I think we're going to see a much more passive game, at least if nouns have any say about it. At least until that Bristleback is able to get up into the Aghanim Scepter for himself. And then they're going to try and push the tempo a little bit more.
See what the last pick's going to be here for Polaris, and still looking for our Lelouch hero. We're looking for some active... I was actually going to say Ember, but Ember's banned out. So again, you've got the Spirit heroes. Mid-Wyvern.
I don't hate it.
It's a pretty goddamn good Wyvern game, honestly. This is going to be the Void Spirit, though. So they're very much going to be able to... They're very much going to struggle with being able to deal with the Void Spirit. Probably expecting Lelouch to consider about a Yule Scepter this game. Just because you need... Well, it's going to be a mid-silencer. So Gun is picking up the silencer. Very interesting. So I wonder what Lelouch is going to be considering, because you do need a way to dispel the global silence. You could consider an early BKB. Of course, you have to use it afterwards. I think you do go down the Yule Scepter route for the Void Spirit, because it is a nice way to set up.
It is, and specifically against the Bristle, right? It's a taunt, so he turns to face whatever direction you want him to. So I think that's going to be really solid as well, just to be able to get some of that follow-up damage in from the Tusk, guarantee that the Hoodwink break is going to come off as well with the Sharpshooter. I'm just interested to see how this mid-silencer goes, because it feels like it's something that they've been baiting out for quite some time. Yes, you are still vulnerable to all of the ganks like I was mentioning before, but you're up against an int hero, so it's going to make that laning stage much more reliable, and I feel like the Bristleback into the Enigma is really solid. Even just the Pangolier, right, with a Swashbuckle into the Eidolons. They're going to be completely ineffective, so I want to see if Polaris look to go for any kind of like lane swaps, maybe even a tri-lane, to be able to start this one out, just so that they could try and get that first blood that in game one allowed them to snowball and get to that really strong stage.
So, are we concerned about the silencer being a core though into the Bloodseeker? Because it's very similar where we saw earlier in the day, I think it was the Bloodseeker into the Sniper matchup, where the Rupture, like if you're forced to stand your ground, this is something that you do not want to do. Silencer is a very position-based hero. Is this an issue that they tried to avoid the bad core-to-core matchup with the Pango versus the Bloodseeker and now put the Silencer into a pretty rough core-to-core matchup?
You know, I'm not going to BS you and assume that I know what I'm talking about with a mid-silencer. I'm just going to sit back and let Gunnar teach me how to play the mid-silencer, because it has been so long since I've seen it, and I'm keen to see if he's able to make it work. I agree with all the points that you're saying, though, right? If they just full-on run at you, things become very difficult. But think about it. You've got a Dawnbreaker that's able to use the Solar Guardian, and you've got Avenge for the swap potential, right? So there are ways to be able to dodge out a lot of that damage you've got coming through. You just got to be mindful of the Rupture, of course.
What is the goal today for nouns, Danog?
Speed, momentum, and violence.
Very good. Wait, what?
He slapped himself.
What? I didn't know you could do that. Apparently, you can challenge yourself. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, it's easy. Listen.
I didn't hear it if you tried to slap yourself.
Well, I did.
Obviously not
I'm
hard
an
enough.
idiot.
Very disappointed.
I'm going to ask production to confirm or deny. But I did. You'll see the mark on my face afterwards. It was kind of hard, actually. Tearing up a little bit.
Okay. Well, that's. But do I have to slap myself now as well?
No,
do
you
have
don't.
to be?
Don't abuse yourself just because I'm an idiot. But all right, I want to see what Gunnar's build is. Right now, he's just gone for stats, right? Because you're against an int hero, you want to go trading. You want to be trading as much as possible. He's already leveled up the Glaives of Wisdom. He knows exactly what his strategy is going to be.
Yeah, very interesting on how he's going to continue to play. When there's always been a hero that is difficult to keep up in farm. So I wonder when... Well, they changed the shard, didn't they? I need to relook at that. Give me a second. If the fight breaks out. The silencer, because it used to bounce, but now it does not. The glaive silences. I don't remember them changing that.
Donor is a game of mystery.
At 25 now. Okay. All right, so it must have been relatively recently.
So he turns into Luna at level 25, basically.
Yeah, well, that used to be the previous Aghanim shard. And that's what I was looking at. Like, I wonder when Gun is going to go for the shard, but now that's not the case. He might still go for a pretty early shard. Extra silence could be nice.
Look at what they've done to the mid lane as well. They made sure to use the demonic conversion onto the first range creep. Why not, right? It's going to be quite a hard lane for Lelouch, especially if he's missing some of these last hits. But if he could just make it a little bit easier, then I mean, it's going to go a long way towards securing a pretty solid game for the guy that carried you last time. Without
a doubt, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how this slipped past me. Force is playing the offlane Tusk.
Yeah, I saw. I just saw it at the very end, actually. But when you specifically draft all of these heroes to counter the Enigma, you've got to be able to change it up. So I like it. And again, they picked it into the silencer. So they would have been knowing that, look, any black hole that we get is a luxury. So I feel like it's just a simple Wraith Pact. It's just solid, right? You shove out lanes, you get to scout, you're good in the lane, you're good in mid game, you're good late game. It's just a great hero.
Yep. Do we feel like with the flex from Polaris, they can look to, like, is this a kill lane for them on... I don't think you can kill off the Bristleback, but do they have the potential to get rid of Husky with the Tuscan and Hoodwink combination? Or is this just like a kind of farm trading lane, looking to get whatever you can out of it?
I think you just want to get your initial farm if you're the Tusk, right? You just want to make sure that you're tanking yourself up a little bit, because eventually you're going to want to try and get aggressive. Honestly, it's not too common that it's the offlaner making the rotations, but I feel like it's very worthwhile if you could just make the silencer's life miserable. You've already done it with the demonic conversion onto the first range creep, and if you could just do it onto another... if you could just kill Gunnar multiple times, especially when his TP's off cooldown, for example, then suddenly you don't scale. You're not this scary silencer that you've been looking to nullify the impact of.
You feel like bottom lane for Nouns, this is a lane that they can definitely come out on top, and you kind of need that for Mu, with how much he struggled in the lane in game one, just to kind of start to build up some confidence for himself as well. You've got the double stun combination, so the missile to be able to enable Moo's hammer to rack up and for him to close the distance. So we'll see how AU is going to look to play. At the moment, it's just pulled the small camp, so it will be able to deny some of the creeps away.
Even just the Wave of Terror, honestly, combined together with a Starbreaker is a ton of damage that you're able to dish out. I mean, 85 damage level 1 with -3 armor rips through those Eidolons and can oftentimes look to, net you a kill. I want to see what Moo goes for his build as well, because it is kind of mana intensive for this lane, but we all know that Sol Ring isn't anywhere near as strong as it used to be. That's one of the big reasons that actually Costabile on the top lane, looking to get the entire creep wave in onto him, as well as the combined attacks coming through from Force and Xavius, but they will get the... Wait, who got the first blood? Husky and Costabile, huh?
Yeah, they did indeed. And meanwhile, mid lane, Lelouch finds a solo kill.
Oh boy.
And again, we mentioned that Polaris are a vocal team. Lelouch giving some tips over, and Gunn is like, all right, well, yeah, the lane was kind of impacted thanks to bottom with the Enigma. And speaking about AU, under some pressure at the moment, but Moo, he's not going to be able to close the distance. Amelphis holding back the Dawnbreaker. They will go to Natsumi, though. Missiles up in another couple of seconds, but Natsumi with the bonus movement speed will be able to slip away from the aggression.
They will. Still though, any little kill that you can get to slow down Costabile, like this is not what we saw last game where it felt like Shadow Fiend was the be-all and end-all of Nouns' draft. This time it's Costabile. He needs to make sure that he has a good start, and he's been caught underneath the tower again with the ice shards, but I have time to back off this time around. Lelouch just putting in another great performance, right, getting that solo kill.
Which is scary, because you do not want to give this guy a free game. You do not have a lot of answers here to the Void Spirit. A lot of it's going to come off the back of the chain control from the Pangolier, but this is a position 5, so you don't really have... You're not going to have as many items to be playing with. You see that Lelouch can go down at least one Dispel route to be able to deal with the Global Silence, so you give a good start to the Void Spirit, he will definitely prove to be an issue for Nouns as the game goes on.
Yeah, even just little things like being able to get rid of the Viscous Nasal Goo, to be able to get rid of the Wave of Terror, for the minus armor aspects. Bottom side,
Z-Freak. Oh, nicely done. Missile into the combo from Moo. They're going to be able to hold back Natsumi. Z-Freak will be able to stay alive. Missile up in a couple of seconds, but AU will be able to get towards the tower. Z-Freak attempting to continue to chase, but a lot of resources being expended from either side. Natsumi doesn't have...
He's got nothing.
Anything at the moment, yeah. What's
Absolutely
giving him?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah, nothing.
So, as long as this lane's in a pretty deep spot for Nouns, they're very happy. Like, they know as soon as Natsumi comes in, they're just going to immediately go for the kill. And, I mean, this is the importance of constantly having resources being ferried out to you in the laning stage. It's coming out right now on AU, but it's going to be way too late.
Yeah, AU just wanted the Bloodseeker to die so he could get all the juicy experience down bottom. You know, he's thinking like a core.
Is he going to die here on Lelouch? Oh, just the Fairy Fire, keeping him up. And is he going to be lucky? Of course he is. I mean, he's already had a good enough time in the mid lane.
Lucky? No, the missile! Oh no, it doesn't connect. Lelouch's got to be cautious still.
Lux for losers,
pushing
says
forward.
Lelouch.
Lux
He's just
for
like,
losers.
you know what, I'm going to get away on my skill.
It's going to push him all the way back to base, though, at least. They will lose the catapult away from now, so not too much damage being dealt in the tower, but Gunner is at least being able to catch back up after that previous death.
It's gone much better for Nouns, though, in the laning stage than what we saw previously.
Bottom lane, Lelouch is going to rotate down. It's a beautiful blood right. Getting that extra control over towards the Dawnbreaker. Lelouch is going to have the finishing blow, but meanwhile, they will not have a stun to stop the TP out. So Z-Freak will make it back alive. Meanwhile, Nouns, they might consider about diving the Hoodwink under the tower. Although they're actually going to consider about TPing Force in. The Bushwhack will be off the mark, but instead, a beautiful shot's going to lock Gunner inside the river. We'll see if the damage is going to be enough out of Force, and you bet it is. Gunner doesn't have the health pool to be able to stay alive, and now Lelouch is connected to mid as well. From bot over to help out with the rest of the members. Beautifully done as Polaris bring both cores here to help out to secure the kills.
Yeah, that was the rotation that I was talking about, right? A lot of the time, you really don't want to be doing that on an offlaner, but if you're able to, again, slow down this silencer, prevent this early-ish to mid-game stages, because he's not going to farm at the same speed as someone like a Void Spirit is. You just don't have the tools to be able to do it, especially now that you move the Aghanim Shard over to the level 25 talent. Plus side, though, is that Costabile, he's just been sitting up here getting all this free farm, solo XP as well for himself. So he's going to be hitting some pretty decent timings. He did end up going for the Vanguard. Of course, he's up against a Tusk, so I understand why. Same sort of thing with a Bloodseeker, right? All of that increased attack speed suddenly doesn't feel quite as menacing.
When they need to be able to convert on this kill. An attempt under the tier 1 tower. Natsumi's going to try and step out of the Starbreaker. Looks like Mu beautifully done with his cast. He's going to be able to secure the kill, and now they'll go for AU as well. So no way for the Enigma to be able to slip into the tree line. Lelouch is going to try and TP down. He's got some ultimate charges to play with. He's going to turn towards Husky, but the burst damage is not enough. Now Lelouch, he's in trouble. He's playing off the back of the Resident Pulse Absorption. That's enough to keep him alive. Mu will end up TPing up, so he'll be okay. But in the end, you get some other kills as well, so that's a big rotation for Lelouch to be able to find. 3-0-1, and we saw what he was able to do in game 1 top lane. Natsumi and Force in combination together, chasing down Costabile. They need to get in front of the Bristleback, but instead it's going to be the help for the bonus tag team, already maxed out. That's enough to provide them that extra damage to get rid of the position 1, and he was really the only person on Nouns that was having a good start to this lane.
I'm going to be very careful with his positioning. Z-Freak over to the left. They get a solo pick-off onto the Hoodwink. He's been sitting mid, just soaking up a lot of this XP, though, so I don't think Xavius will mind that all too much. He just wanted to make sure that the tower didn't get pushed in by the Pangolier while Lelouch was away, getting a lot of those kills, and more importantly, the network.
Force might be able to solo kill Gunnar. With the Solar Guardian and Husky's positioning will keep Gunnar alive, although Lelouch, he's going to be able to follow up as well. Beautifully done. Steps in with the burst required. Meanwhile, top lane, though, Natsumi is in a little bit of trouble. Vulnerable against the Bristleback, but a Rupture used defensively will enable him to get back towards the secret shot. But they do have a ward of the triangle, and Husky's going to try and connect. But it'll be the Ancients that deny the Bloodseeker.
And this is the positive thing when you've got an Enigma as well, right? AU, we haven't called his name for quite some time. He doesn't have the greatest amount of net worth, but he is just farming away super happily on this bottom side, keeping the lane pushed in, and someone's going to need to have to deal with this.
Lelouch, he needs to get the kill pretty fast on the Z-Freak, but his other ultimate charges, they might not even catch up to the Vengeful Spirit. They'll miss out on the shards. He'll turn it back around, chucking out a missile. Beautifully done as Gunnar gets the streak, and meanwhile Mu, he's going to enter the fight as well. A solo kill for the Dawnbreaker onto Xavius, but we're not done just yet. And Force and Natsumi in combination together. The Blood Ray will buy them some time, but as soon as that runs out, Nouns can push on forward. Costabile starting to stack up the slows. Gunnar as well is going to be in with the Arcane Curse. His Force is stopped to a crawl. Is he going to tick out to the damage? It's not enough, so Force will survive.
AU comes in as well. He doesn't quite have the mana for the Black Hole. It kind of feels like he was going to be using that solo onto Gunnar because he hasn't leveled up the Global Silence yet, but a Dawnbreaker with no ultimate, a Bristleback with no stun. Almost felt like that would have been a guaranteed kill, but maybe just not accounting for the mana cost of the TP. Immediate smoke coming out here. Level 6 on Xavius, so they feel like they can go for this kill onto Costabile. I feel like they'll need some kind of resources, and that's where the TP comes in from Force to be able to do so.
Oh, Costabile is going to be in trouble. Look at the burst potential that comes out. And Force might be on point with the shards. A nice side set from Mu, because he's always playing with a Celestial Hammer, but then this is a big concern that I have for Nouns, that yes, Bristleback is the highest net worth hero for Dire, but throughout the entirety of the game, they have a way to address him, so it doesn't seem like it particularly matters how much farm he's going to be able to get. Polaris will be able to counter him as the game goes on.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, the thing is, they're always going to be able to counter him, so you have to force a way to be able to make them defend more than attack, right? You don't want to give these open opportunities for Polaris to just run at you whenever they feel like. And so a big way to do that is just to consistently push out lanes. Bristleback's alright at doing it. You could just toss a Wave of Terror, which helps the creep wave do it naturally. Even a Pos 5 Pango has the capability to do it. And we can see Moo, I was mentioning, what's he going to go for mana regen? He's got a Falcon Blade and he's going into the Soul Ring. So he's just going to be spamming that Celestial Hammer off cooldown to make sure that's what's happening with the lanes.
That is the one nice thing, I suppose, with nouns is that their lineup is very much based around counter-initiating. A Solar Guardian used defensively, the swap, your Husky with the Rolling Thunder to be able to enter some of the fights. So you need to get to the stage, but the Bristleback is strong enough to be able to kind of put yourself on the front line and for Polaris not to be able to execute cleanly to blow him up as Husky. There's the Rolling Thunder we're speaking about, but AU will have plenty of time. He's even going to use the Black Hole. No messing around though with the Solar Guardian to be able to counter this. So a couple of ultimates expended from either sides, but the rest of Polaris, they're looking to get in the neighborhood. As they see that gun is caught out of position. An instant use of the swap, but Lelouch is nearby as well. But then beautiful double bushwhack will hold Moo down into place as Xavius finds the burst required to get another kill for Polaris.
Yeah, they use so much just to try and protect this this Pangolier, which basically there's not much point of it. I mean, this is a position 5 Pango at the end of the day. Sure, you killed the Enigma, but that Enigma's pos 5 too. So it just feels like a little bit too much emphasis being given on to those sorts of heroes as opposed to stopping the real tempo setter, which is the Tusk. You need to try and commit as heavily as possible onto the Tusk, maybe go down the Spirit Vessel route for Husky, just to make sure that you're able to get a little bit more of that damage through onto him.
This is kind of nice. So Z-Freak's getting some meat time down bottom. I think this is 3 waves in a row that the Venge has been able to find some farm. Oh, hold that thought. Costa Billy is going to be picked up. Force and Xavius combination together. Not only do they have the Void Spirit that the Hoodwink can play with, but your Force is that farm they can look to play with him as well. As well, finally they'll address Z-Freak, who was freely farming up down bottom. It's going to be AU and Lelouch that were required to be able to defend the tower.
Nice little deny as well, so just gives them even more farm on Polaris. And they are going to end up going into that Yule Scepter that we were expecting for Lelouch. I think he's nearly finished up his full, the full item as well, so you could very easily just look to purchase that one through. Level 12 as well, so his damage output is severely increased right now, and I mean, right now it just feels like...
Onto the T1 tower, look at the burst again, Force and Xavius with the sharpshooter. They haven't got the damage until Force is able to utilize the snowball, but now that the reinforcements are showing up, they need a stun! And they'll just find the last second. Z-Freak is there with the magic missile. They're looking for more though, but Husky will be a little bit too late to cancel any other TPs with the Rolling Thunder.
I just want to see Void Spirit, Hoodwink, Tusk, maybe not even all 3, but for now, probably safer to do it than not, and just hunt the Bristleback. Try and find where he is, get some deep wards up with the smoke, and then look to consistently kill him, because again, he is the only one that you're concerned about.
And it feels like Polaris have already kind of anticipated where the Bristleback is soon to be farming. You take a look at this freshly placed Observer Ward by the Dire Triangle. So they're ready for the Bristleback to fall towards that location, which I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been farming. Like, this is usually the Bristleback's home, and no one else can really try and clean up this area.
I think it's kind of out of necessity, right? He doesn't want to be super greedy. He wants to assist his team with trying to keep that top lane pushed out as much as possible.
Anyway, he jumps into the river. The Global Silence is going to be able to set up for the Solar Guardian. Bit of a mistake coming up from Lelouch, and yeah, Garnet gives him a tip back. He'll make sure he remembers.
Husky going for the jump here, trying to catch out.
In the river though, Moo. By the secret shot, Natsumi and AU. Yeah, they're going to be able to see the Dawnbreaker splitting up for the rest of the team, so even though Nouns were trying to catch up with the Rolling Thunder mid, that gave them an opportunity to try and deal with the Dawnbreaker.
They're pinging out the courier as well. They want to try and get this point booster if they can. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to though. So now Gunner, 2.5 items into his Aghanim Scepter. It's going to provide them so much more utility for all these team fights. Not force him to use that global silence super early on, can afford to be a little bit more conservative with it, wait for those BKBs that I'm sure are set to come out next for force. Yep, there it is, and Bloodseeker, he's already halfway there for himself, so just wait for that. After the Yule Scepter as well for the Void Spirit, that's when you're going to have the real strong effectiveness in these team fights, because they're not lacking in it for Nouns, they just need to start these team fights a lot better.
This is a concern where Polaris are just easily able to invade the jungle. 17 minutes in, taking away the triangle. They don't even care about this T1 tower mid. It's just the economy that they want to shut down from the side of Nouns. I mean, you see they're all grouped up, like Gunner and Move playing together, so just continuing to stem the economy that Nouns are able to build up.
Yep. It's all about stalling, right? Just get that next item and be able to withstand the BKB push that they know is inevitably going to come their way. So even Husky has just been given a lane all to himself because they know that, you know, Pango, Swashbuckle, Shield Crash, you're able to quickly, clear lanes out. They go for a smoke. Wasn't under any kind of vision, but let's see if they're able to respond to it in time. It's just going to be AU that they pick off here, which, you know, it's not the greatest to be able to lose your Enigma, never mind, but it's a 4-man smoke for a position 5, and it just, the amount of space that it gives. Look at the lines being drawn on the map. AU's just like, well, they killed me. Push out top, push out mid, try and take this tower.
Yeah, it's a lot of information now that Polaris are going to be working with all the other lanes that are shoved out, because now you can jump Gunner. Let's see if they're going to be able to blow him up. Polaris are hesitant about committing. Sharpshooter with the damage is not enough, so Gunner's going to be okay.
They're just trying to force some kind of movement up towards this top side force. It's this little balancing act, right? Of wanting to push the wave in as quickly as possible, but not leave yourself there to be able to die. Wisely enough, Nouns, they're not going to get baited out by this. They don't want to TP up here unnecessarily. It's all just about running there. They're pinging him out now, saying, hey, he could have potentially TP'd in. So maybe they'll be baited into making not so ideal movement coming through. Here we go.
Looks like they're baiting as well.
Yeah, coming up top. Z-Freak in good position. Does he have the range, though? It's just level 1 swap.
Oh, he just backed off. He just started to back off. That's a lot of ultimates expended. And Polaris, they had already disengaged before the Global Silence and the Solar Guardian, so it just felt like they didn't see anyone behind. They wanted to try and get some reactions, and they well and truly got that. That is a big victory for Polaris. Now they can do whatever they want on the map.
To see that they've got this high ground watered as well. Xavius, not sure if you're in a position, buddy, to be able to go for this one, as the Rolling Thunder's committed to try and take him down. Get the slow,
cautious though. Yeah. The Rupture's there. Scarcy forced to cancel out the ultimate, and they recognize that Nouns, they're not playing with some big abilities to be able to utilize in the team fight. So 2 heroes are killed off with ease, and now they're even going to chase forward for more. Gunner's positioned up on the high gun. Costability did just complete the scepter as well, so they kind of need to respect the Bristle back for the moment. Although Lelouch is going to charge up, gets the jump. The rest of the team's starting to move towards his position. They even have the boomerang as well for the bonus damage.
Nice chop, though.
Nouns will be okay.
By Moons, he chopped the tree, making sure there wasn't that consistent follow-up coming through. I think they're going to be happy enough if they're able to take this mid-tier 1 tower. No Solar Guardian for 50 seconds, and they saw the fact that Mood TP'd down here, so they're going to be able to claim this one, get some control around the Roche Pit, and that's going to be the next main objective for Polaris. They've got a Tusk, they've got a Bloodseeker that's able to attack super fast, they've got a Wraith Pact, plenty of damage.
The Triangle Force, they'll get the jump onto Costabile. A Snowball's going to buy them some time. A beautiful setup for Lelouch to enter the fight. The damage is getting spread apart, but once that Toomey is able to enter, they don't have an answer to the Bloodseekers. The BKB just enables him to get the right clicks out, and Costabile will look for the TP, but the Remnant instantly stops out in its tracks, and now they've caught out Gunner as well. Another tip, Lelouch, he'll give him one back as Polaris loses 0 members.
Members lost, and well, they're going to find a tier 2 tower for themselves as well. No glyph available. Siege creep assisting them too. Might even be looking to go for a solid pickoff here onto Z-Freak, but Lelouch as well as Xavier's going to be able to back up in time. But again, I mentioned that they were going for that Roshan controls. We look at the replay. This is what the Yule Scepter provides, right? Not only does it give you that safety net against the Global Silence, against the Aghanim Scepter on the Silencer, but it allows you to force the Bristleback to face you. So he's already down to half HP before he even gets ruptured, forced to TP away. He's just in such a rough spot. It doesn't feel like he can take these team fights prior to having the BKB, and he's just a mile away.
Yeah, it feels like really the timings are coming out too late for Nouns. I was going to ask the question at one stage, do we feel like Nouns can compete with the double scepter timing, but we don't even have that yet on Gunnar. And the net worth lead is just continuing to balloon to a stage where they have the answers to the Bristleback, and you can now itemize against the Silencer. Like, this is one of the big weaknesses with this hero. You already see Lelouch. Your Scepter instantly into the Lotus Orb as the item after the Aghanim Scepter, and they're going to continue just to itemize to be able to dispel. Like, this is the big issue with the hero. There's just so many ways to counter you.
Yeah, Natsumi, he's gone into a Manta style. Like, he just wants to quickly purge that one off. I'd be surprised if I didn't see someone with a Lotus Orb queued up next. You've got, oh my god, you've nearly got the Walrus kick available on Force. He's got the three components on the Courier. One more pick off, and this is going to be another big item picked up for him.
Yeah, and you can use that in so many ways in these team fights. That's a very good point. I wasn't even going to mention that, but yeah, that's a great point. Being able to get that bonus damage out of the Rupture. As Moo, they both run into him. Oh, Lelouch. Oh no, they thought it was on the other high ground that the smoke popped on. So Moo's going to be able to TP out, and also Husky will TP out as well. So Polaris, the smoke down to bottom will get them nothing. Meanwhile, Natsumi is alone. They have the outpost to be able to TP to.
No.
Natsumi, it seems like he knows though. He's playing behind the single tree. The rest of Polaris aren't moving over towards top. Natsumi will use a defensive BKB. Wraith Pack laid down as well.
There's no way
he's going to be able to get out.
Oh, they got the Courier with the Ags on it though. So Force doesn't have it. He's not going to have it for the next 2.5 minutes. That's a pretty big kill. I mean, it only gives them about a minute window where they have both that as well as the Aegis. So, well, that's just a small victory going Nouns' way. They would have seen that they got that, and maybe now with the BKB on cooldown, they feel like the Bloodseeker can't fight. So they're going to go for a kill elsewhere, just showing Costabile on the map because he still needs to farm.
They see Lelouch
getting baited here.
Let's see what they're going to be able to do. The swap back into the Rolling Thunder. That's a beautiful setup. Really nicely done from Nouns. A crafty way to get the jump. Beautifully done from them. And now this tier 1 tower. They might be able to find it. We haven't really seen the prowess of the Bristleback so far with all his right-click damage. And with that kill, they should be able to get some map control now.
Doesn't feel like much, but it really does open up so much of the map, right?
Yep.
Like, you can even look to potentially place yourself inside of the enemy triangle now as this Bristleback, but instead they're just going to back up a little bit, look to get another smoke through. I'm not sure who they're going to pick off now, though, because no one's farming inside of their jungle. They can see that. They've got the wards for it. And even if they found the Bloodseeker farming over to the left side, there's a tier 1 tower to TP to, and he's got the Aegis. So I feel like, despite BKB being on cooldown, they're not all that concerned on Polaris. There's that Lotus Orb that I was talking about on Xavius. Just first item Lotus Orb, straight rush.
Oh boy. Big concerns with how Gunner's going to be able to get effectiveness. He's going to go into the Boots of Trouble next, so a little bit of extra positioning will be nice. But, like you mentioned, that Aghanim Scepter from Force could really prove to be an issue. You can kick away the Pangolier with the Rolling Thunder if you want to look to address him. You can kick Silencer into a compromised position. You can kick the Bristleback out of the fight. A lot you can do even without even playing with the Rupture, so a bit difficult for Nouns to claw their way back into this game. But we have seen, though, the past couple of sequence of events, they're minor ones, but they have done a very good job.
Again, it's all about stalling. Husky doing his best on the top side, should net them a tier 1 tower. It's just a question of what do you lose in the meantime. It's just an illusion. It was bottled up previously by Gunner there. Get the AoE last word off.
Swap back. Natsumi's got an opportunity for the BKB this time, though. The chain control is not perfect from Nouns. Was the BKB on cooldown? It actually might prove to be an issue for Polaris. Getting some usage out of the Rupture, so they'll just look to take the T2 tower.
I think they're waiting.
Xavier's in a position to be able to jump back in, though. He sees Gunner. Oh, no, an AU! What an ultimate! The global silence comes out, but it will not matter. The black hole has done the dirty work. It's a position 5 Enigma into
Walrus kicks
all the
about to come.
counters. Has an ultimate like that.
Oh, he really wants to try and get the silencer. Gunner brought back. Single roll.
On Force, there we go. A kick onto Husky. An easy pickings as Force. Beautifully done to set that up.
He just wants to die to the tower. 10 seconds left on the Aegis. Tower about to drop too.
And Force is looking for someone caught out.
Oh, Gunner. That's such an unsafe place to be right now, my man. He's going to reveal his positioning a little bit. Doesn't have any movement items. But they're not really caring about the silencer at this stage. They're just like, you know what? We want to try and get the melee racks. Won't be able to, though. Still quite a hard nut to crack.
Ooh. Okay, they're doubling back for a second. Seeing if there was an opportunity, but not the case. So in the end, Polaris, T3 tower is going to go down, and the melee barracks taking a decent chunk of damage as well. Mid lane, Force, there we go. The kick onto the Bristol, but look at the damage, man. Oh no, Natsumi just cleans apart the Bristol back, and now they're going to turn towards the Dawnbreaker as well. He'll get some distance away. A beautiful Manta dodge is able to avoid the magic missile, and Hussy's going to be in with a counter once again. Force, he found Gunner. Oh, that's perfect. Into the sharpshooter burst. The Tusk catching out another straggler.
They're just going to keep doing it. 5 seconds, he's just going to go for another one. No one can go forward to try and stop this. Force, move forward. Ooh, kick back, never mind. Swashbuckle, disabling it. They know exactly where he is. They can just look to rally around Natsumi.
Oh, Husky's going to jump in. He's jumping into the middle, and instead, he's just giving an opportunity for Force to find a kickback. Further putting him out of position.
Maybe just wanting to give up his own life as to say, well, take me, not the racks.
Maybe move. Also might be one in trouble. They're going to be able to deal with the tree, and as soon as they get the buyback out of Husky, and with the respawns coming up shortly, Polaris, they will look to back up. This net worth lead continuing to go further and further into Radiant's favor, and they will finally at least get a barracks on their side as well.
Yeah, buybacks, multiple buybacks. Haha. And going into... Oh, he's going the Atos. Okay. Is that a Gliknir that you've got now? It is indeed. So he was going into a Skadi previously on Natsumi. Had it queued up for the longest time, but I much prefer this. Just more stuff to enable your Tusk to have the big impact, because Force, how many offlaners do you see second on net worth ahead of a Bristleback? He has played a phenomenal game.
Look at... Oh, mid lane. Hold on. Go back to live. Swap back into Force. Nice use of the Lotus Sword, but the rest of the team, let's see if it's going to be enough time to close the distance. And alright, a little bit of cards to go as Force. He'll go down. Natsumi, see if they can close the distance onto the Bloodseeker as well. It's still got BKB. I don't think they're going to be able to kill this man. It's not the case. Look at bottom, Xavius and Lelouch.
He's ratting with a Void Spirit and a Hoodwink.
Yeah.
Run!
Oh no. We'll be able to get on top of Xavius. A scar into the tree line, and he should be chilling, although the rest of Nouns are converging onto bottom, but they're a little bit slow to be able to catch up. Scan, they know he's still there. Xavius still, can they finally deal with this squirrel? No way Xavius survives. Meanwhile, though, Lelouch, he's got that outer ring in the dissimulate, so Lelouch is gone, and Xavius is out as well. Look at all the time spent trying to kill these two members.
Yeah, that's the big difference, right? They just feel like a lot of their movements are so much cleaner. Only a minute left until the Roshan, so again, Polaris. This is composed Dota. They're just saying, you know what? We know the key timings to play around. Do they have the... They don't even have Aghanim Shot on Bloodseeker yet, and he is dealing a crap ton of damage, so almost level 20. He'll have the Aghanim Shard, provided that they're able to take Roshan. With all the vision that they've got, I can't see any reason why not.
There's a 5% chance, 31 minutes in. Well, Dual Force. Oh, just doesn't get the kick, the slow. Now they're going to actually swap him back. Great reactions out of Force, being able to use the snowball to stop Nouns from jumping on that opportunity, and they just blow up Z-Freak instead. Look at the double back.
Oh, yep. The old C fake back. You love to see it. They want to fight.
It's outside the base.
Gunner.
They see Gunner.
Lelouch, she's going to give them the vision. They get the remnant as well. AU's in with the black hole. There's going to be no way to stop that. An easy kill onto the core silencer. Enigma's starting to fall low. They'll have at least the finishing blow to deal with AU, but can they get out with their own lives as Moot? He committed into the middle of the fight, and as soon as the BKB expires, they'll bring him down, and Force is onto another target. Nouns crumbling, 4 members gone.
And that was without the Wraith Pack dropped as well, so probably would have even lived on the Enigma without all of that. And, well, who needs Roshan when you can just take racks? You know, they just don't have the heroes to be able to fight up into this, and looks like Force just wants more pickoffs going into the Octarine core for the extra cast range to be able to reliably get a lot of these pickoffs. And they're saying Bristleback's missing, and they're going to go for a smoke play, but I'm not sure how effective this is going to be.
Really feels like... Yeah, that's a good question. Their only hope is swap into instant stun. Well, they don't have the heroes alive to be able to play with that, and so Xavius can reposition, terms it with the sharpshooter, and jumps down to the low ground. Beautifully done coming out from the hoodwink, and meanwhile, on the opposite side of the fight, Gunner is caught out once again. This Tusk Aghanim Scepter being too much for Nouns to handle.
You almost have to call it at this stage. It's just going to be too demoralizing otherwise, and they're even looking to try and go for one more. Force, you know the man's always going to go for that extra kill, and it looks like he might be able to claim it here. Just tosses the corpse outside of the base.
Oh no. Asuka's doing what he can, but you know, this is looking like it might indeed be the series over and done with. But another kill to celebrate here for Polaris.
Another corpse kick. I love the ragdoll physics around it.
I'm a big fan of the Scepter as well. When we get to see some core Tusk, we didn't even mention the fact that the Tusk 3 is something that we've seen not have a whole lot of success, but Force has looked incredible on it this game. 12, 3, and 18. Very impressed with his performance.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's just that draft versatility, right? To be able to not just switch heroes around. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you can't show yourself. You actually cannot show yourself.
I mean, Gunner is a great Tusk mid as well, so he knows exactly the limits that you can look to play around, and I'm sure, you know, there's a little bit of karma for all the times that he's been spamming this out in his pubs, but they're just going to go for another one. There we go.
Combo like you were mentioning. Rupture into the kick, Costabile, he'll make it away. Hey, they do get Force.
Okay.
A bit of a streak. They have to use a lot to be able to bring him down. Be able to turn it back around into Husky. And look at the damage at Natsumi. A free fight here for the Bloodseeker. And the final team fight to be able to close out this game. Bristleback gone for 50 seconds, and the T4s are starting to go down as well. A very important series victory from Polaris. Yeah, being able to 2-0 Nouns. And we also saw earlier in the day as well, they were able to go 1-1 in their previous series. So they are now going to be 3-1 here for Polaris to kick us off in the last chance qualifiers.
Yeah, for sure. And, well, it's on the back of some solid play, you know. The Polaris that just goes for the super deep dives without having the tools to be able to do so, they don't exist anymore. Well, maybe they're just in hibernation, but for now, they've been looking really solid, you know, being able to go 1-1 against a quality outfit like Na'Vi, and a very clean 2-0 against Nouns. It really didn't feel like they were challenged at many points throughout this series. Laning phases have just gone far ahead, and I like the small adaptations